Oh my goodness, guys. You know we here. Listen, it is hump day, and guess what? We are blessed to be here, and we are glad you are here with us from the battle to the glory. Yes, we are here, guys. Come on. You know we stay sharp, sharp like a two-edged sword. You know we here, man. We here. We here. Lady T, how you been? How was your day?
Day was good. I got a little thing with my throat, so I'm talking it through. Sometimes I sound like Barry White when I say, I get low with it, you know. Get low.
Lord Jesus. She said, I'll get low. I'll get low with it.
Yep, yep.
Oh God.
How are
Oh
you?
man. Man, listen, I'm good, man. Just had a nice day, smooth, got in there, did what I had to do at work. Bop, bop, bop. Oh, in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. I get
Moving
off at
around is
noon.
better.
Yeah. I got some new way of conditioning my knee. Working out, just no weights, just calisthenics, squats and stuff like that. Just working it and then resting, working it and resting it because I stand on my feet for some hours and then I go sit down. But yeah, I try to keep it from getting inflamed and stuff like that. So it's been all right.
Good.
Yeah, because I definitely gotta keep working. Hey, Dr.
Yep.
Toya's in the building, y'all.
Yes.
Listen, Toya, you must be driving. She must be driving, y'all. She must be driving. She must be driving. But listen, T, this one of your topics, so
Oh, is it?
yes, I let you slide a little bit. I let you get your little relax on, but now we here, we back, right back at you. Listen, it was good. I mean, you always come up with some good stuff, so you don't come up with some good, but what do church teach about healthcare for the body? When my mom was like, "Ooh, I like that," because I got some stuff I want to talk about. So before I get into mine, hear what you got to say about it, T.
You want me? This is my topic. I'm supposed to interview
Oh,
you.
well,
Yeah.
well
So
okay,
you're
okay.
gonna be, yeah.
I, that's why I love you. See, you did a switcheroo.
Yep. Switch it on.
Go ahead, talk to me.
So, what do you think the church and the Bible teaches about healthcare for the body? What,
Okay.
in your opinion, and everything after you know all about scripture, just, speak freely.
Well, I can definitely tell you that first of all, God just tell you to take care of the temple, your body. So be mindful of that. He does tell you to take care of your temple. Be mindful of that. The things that you eat, it is in the Bible to tell you how to eat, what to eat, and things of that nature. So it does teach you. It does have script where it shows you how you're supposed to take on the inner you. That's why it also look. This is something big right here. I think you mentioned it before. Fasting. Fasting it allows you to purify your body, not only your body, your mind, not just from food, but mentally. And so that's part of taking care of your mental health. The church really, I feel like the church really don't talk about that. They talk about what's going on. They might have a word at the particular time, but these are the things that even at Bible study, have those type of conversations at Bible study. It's not I feel like when you go to Bible study, it's about strictly about the Bible. They're talking about the Bible, but now we're not talking about, the life part of it, the natural part. They're just talking about the spiritual part because I think the spiritual part is important, but also the natural part is just as important because that's why, you think about it right now in this time, mental health is big on every level from white, Spanish, black, all everybody. The culture, mental health is something that we all struggle with at one point in our time in this lifetime right now. That wasn't really a big thing in the Old Testament, even in the New Testament, it really wasn't. You know what I'm saying? They had people who had issues, but they really didn't talk about it. So now we live in a different time that the mental is important now. And so we don't have a lot of churches having those conversations about that. It's crazy that we talking about this topic because look, I'll be at men's fellowship and everything. And look, the young men now, the young generation, right? They have this thing about not grooming themselves. And who do they get that from? That's an image that comes from who? The elders, older people. So that's big. And that's why we should be talking about that. So the new generation can understand it's okay to groom yourself as a man. It's okay to get your feet done. It's okay to, I ain't say put no nails, no fingernail polish on your hand. It's okay if you do hard work. It's okay to get your nails done. Get the dirt out from your nails. It's all right. That's important. Taking care, getting a haircut, combing your hair, getting shape ups, making yourself look presentable. Because guess what? There are people watching you, and they are people, whether you believe it or not, looking up to you. You can't allow your life. You got so much going on when you you don't take care of yourself. Women do it. The women that really care about themselves, they take care of themselves. You know what I'm saying? I ain't talking about all that extra stuff, but they groom themselves and they make themselves look beautiful. And men supposed to do the same thing. So when I was looking at this topic, I was like, yo, I like this. It's because that's where I'm going to start telling the brothers, yo, listen. I know you got to take care of your family. I know you got to support yourself. I mean, your family and do all this. But hey, it's time for you to take care of you right now. Hey, every Tuesday, go get your hair cut. Go get your feet done. You know what I'm saying? That's not, Aaron, what's up, brother? How you doing? He said, when Lacey drink from the cup laughing out loud, that means she's loading up. All right, Aaron, we going to have you back up here, man. We love you, brother. And that's the thing, I'm going to be encouraging to them and let them know that, I got nephews, I got nieces, and, I always, my nephews, I would tell, hey, yo, comb your hair, come to me, I'll shape you up. I have the ability, to comb their hair. I mean, shape them up, cut their hair and everything. So, that's important. You know what I'm saying? It truly is important for us to encourage men to groom themselves. I guarantee you, if you got a bunch of men in a room, I guarantee you, if it was 50 men in the room, I guarantee you 50, maybe 5 of them get their feet done. And they think that's soft. No, it's not soft, because guess what? If you hard working, if you standing on your feet all the time, guess what? It's okay to get your feet done. That's not feminine. That's not soft. That's, that's taking pride of yourself and your health, because your feet is important. So doing that type of things is important. Is getting a haircut. Like some of these men walk around here, don't get no haircut. I'll be like, yo, what's going on? Like, it's like that. And T, that's not even a judgment. It's like you do have to stand out. You are something different. You have to be stand out. When every time they see, they say, Brother Porterfield always groomed himself. I stay with a cut. You know what I mean? I stay with my stuff sharp. Sometimes I might be a little roughy because I gotta let my hair grow so I can get the nice shape up. You know what I'm saying? But no, seriously, sometimes you do have to let your hair grow so you can get the nice shape up and look nice, right? Look fresh. Mm-hmm. And we don't practice that. I'm talking about seriously. Men don't practice that, because if it was that wasn't the case. I'm sorry. If that wasn't the case, guess what? When you go into certain places, you wouldn't see all the nappy hair, not comb. Who said that that's a trend? That ain't no trend. That ain't no trend. Hey, get yourself looking presentable. People going. Listen, it's okay to comb your hair. It's okay. I didn't say put no perm in your hair. I said comb your hair. You feel me? Because some people don't have good hair. They got rough hair. Hey, do the work. It's work. Life is work. So, That's what I got. I'm gonna let you chime in now because
Oh, so it's work. It's work. What you're saying is it's work to do the hair, because I understand you when you say that, because I have my hair and it's a lot of work to do my own hair. And so if I don't do, whatever is necessary for my hair, then it becomes additional work and then I don't want to do it. So yeah, I feel you on that. I do.
that,
I do. I do.
and see, listen, our young generation, right? Our young generation. Let's go there. The young generation, who do they look up to? If they see the olders and the elders not doing it, you think they're gonna do it?
Right.
They're not gonna do it.
I know.
Same thing with the females. If everybody's wearing this, oh man, the BBLs, young generation, they say, oh, you know what? I don't have it. I want to get that. They're doing it too. Because what they see the older people. When I say older, I'm not talking the elderly. I'm talking about the people that's older than them. They see them doing it, so they think it's cool. They think it's something that we all supposed to be doing. No, we're not. Got it. And guess what? I think that's where the problem lies, is that sometimes it's hard work. They want it easy.
I agree.
They want it easy.
Everybody wants things handed to them and easy to access without doing the work. So I agree. But what I'll say is, I think that we just need to learn how to think of the body differently, as if we're honoring God in our way of recognizing the body as a gift and a temple. We have to, do better with how we look at our bodies and how we conduct ourselves, because we're basically told to care for the body like, it is our temple, where we take care of it and honor it, with how God wants us to honor it, not through, doing it in a way where it dishonors God. And we're not teaching that as much as we should. It's like, when I look at our health in our body, I look at like we're not really eating balanced. We're not avoiding excess things like food and things like that, or physical activity lack of. But we're supposed to be encouraged to be disciplined Christians. Go ahead.
I just want to add what you're saying. I just want to point something out to on the defense of the food though. This is real important. You know what it is that the food that we're eating is stuff that's in the food that makes us want more of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going on. They inject certain things in the food that, I'll give you an example, like certain fried chickens, right? We like fried chicken, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are certain places where their seasoning is addictive.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why we like, because you got some people who like Popeyes, right?
Yeah.
And they say, I love me some Popeye chicken. And they don't like Kentucky Fried Chicken. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the desire for that, and it's in the seasoning that would make you want it. Your mouth water. You think about it, and you're like, you know what? I want Popeyes tonight.
But I hear you on that. But that's another thing about the body that we need to learn how to do, is have self-control, control what it is, those cravings, because they're coming. The craving's going to come. That's temptation. They know how to make our food taste so good that we need to have it more.
Yeah.
We don't want to be gluttonous. We don't want to, overextend ourselves with food and everything, but we need to learn how to have self-control. When I hear that, I have to tell, myself, is if I'm doing the same thing, get a little bit, and in moderation, get a little bit of what it is that you like, but not do too much, too often. So I hear what you're saying, because temptation is all around us, and even in our food, just like you just said, like that is what they're trying to do, control us so that we are, going and spending the money to go buy that and eat it all the time and have health problems in our body, because it's going to create health problems. Trust me.
AT, you want confirmation? Here's confirmation for you. When you go in certain communities, they have certain grocery stores that, for the people that live in that community, they service that community. So you won't see, I'm being serious, like people they can agree or to disagree, whatever they want. But I can tell you this, when you go into the white neighborhoods, you won't see a Popeyes.
I know.
You feel me?
Yeah.
You're not going to see a corner store that's selling Italian cheeseburgers, and you're not going to see that.
I know.
It's because All right, and you go into those communities, and it's because of the, the desire of the consumer of what
Yes.
they eat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not going to do that. You're not going to see that. You go down to, like, most people probably don't know what it's at, but you go to Newark, you won't see Whole Food in Newark.
No, I know that.
You feel me? You're
Yeah.
not.
No.
When you go outside of that, you will. There is a whole. Let me correct that. There is a Whole Food in Newark. They do have one downtown. I gotta correct that. They do, but you won't see a lot of.
You have to take me there one day. I want to see this one.
It's downtown Newark, because downtown Newark it has came up. You know what I'm saying? They may look nice, and so, but that was my point. They don't have a lot of that. Where I live at, there's a lot of Whole Foods. I live in Roselle. I know you don't know where that's at, but that's further south of in Jersey. Not too far, but it's close to Newark. But they have a lot of Whole Foods. They got Aldi's. There's no ShopRite.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? But the people that lives in my area are mostly like foreigners. They have a lot of Jamaican, they got Haitian, they got some Puerto Rican stores in here, but that's the community. You know what I'm saying? So they got their own stores. So they go in and get it. Huh?
I was going to say we should wonder why it is the way it is. But then again, I think that is the way the system was built for us to be in this situation and what we're talking about. So,
and being that I'm in the food industry, when I'm always at a barbecue, and my family, I try to tell them sometimes that, when they want that burger, I'll be like, oh my goodness, you want a well done burger? No. Well, you already know. I know you laughed.
Yep, you're right.
And look, and over the years, I'm just talking about that. They like, oh, I don't want that. Don't. And you can talk about the blood, but guess what? You said it earlier. You just said it a few minutes ago. Our diseases, prostate cancer. You don't see a lot of white people dying from prostate cancer. A lot. You don't. But guess what? They eat their meat. This just one little speck. They eat their meat medium rare. Some eat it rare.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so they don't eat a lot of processed foods.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We do.
Yeah.
Processed chicken, all those type of things. And no, these are the things. But guess what? We talk about how the church don't talk about that, right? Have you noticed? This ain't negative. This is something we gotta check in on it. That a lot of people that go to church, they big. They not skinny.
I was hoping you was not gonna say that. I was.
But guess what? It's not. Listen, it's not to point the finger and say something negative. It's just these are the type of topics that we're talking about that it has to. Let's make that change. And this is just a small conversation that we're talking about. Let's change it. Let's try to. Hopefully that some people will listen and change that. You know what I'm saying? That mindset. It's not just about, because guess what? God told us how to take care of our bodies. But do we teach it constant like we teach the word of God? That is part. No, that is part of the word of God. But people, guess what? They push that to the side. Like that's not important. It is important.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. The people that lived in the Old Testament live longer than we do.
Mm.
And they didn't eat meat like that.
Mm-hmm.
They were able to endure. No, our time has changed. You know what I'm saying? And so these are some of the conversations that we got to have in churches. A lot of people don't want to have it. They think, listen, I was at service Sunday. Then I'm going to let you go into that. I was at church Sunday, right? And you know what one of the pastors said that was so profound? People in church right now, older people, the elderly, wonder why our young generation is not getting it because they're trying the same old ways, the old ways of teaching to the new generation. It's not going to work. It hasn't worked. It's not working because that's an old way. You have to learn how to teach them in a different way so they can hear and understand it and receive it. And so that's why some of these people that speaking the word of God are rapping. That's what they're trying to do. I'm gonna keep it real. I was against the gospel rap. I'm gonna keep it real. I was because I'm like, yo, I was, and so I'm being honest and transparent. The reason why I'm like, okay, the renewal of your mind, you have to change. Can't be the same way. That's not true. You can rap and live a holy and righteous life for God. And see, I didn't that's something I had to learn. I learned that quick and rapidly because I was talking to someone. They was like, yo, D, you got to change that up because you really got to know, their heart. And they can still rap for Jesus and still live a holy and righteous life. Yeah. They're living too. That's how they do it. And that's how they're going to be able to bring the new generation in. Yeah. Because the new generation is lost. They don't know nothing about God. Yeah, they do. Let me correct that. They do, but they choose not to because it's hard. And so they don't have a lot of activities that we can have for this young generation that is real intriguing. It's real like, oh man, I love living God. There are some. We're not saying it's not none, but let's look at the majority. And where do it start? It's always time for new things and to add to what God has given us. And that's why we have to pray. Go ahead, T.
I know. I'm glad you got that out, though. But I think about what Jesus, he taught us about the body and how, he spoke to the Pharisees and Sadducees, and he really did have the understanding of what we should be teaching, which, it's not about what is going into the body, it's what's going out of the body. And, that is, what defiles a person, the heart, the mind, what comes out of your mouth. Your heart speaks. What comes out of your mouth, your mind speaks, right? But that's something that, I would think in an elevated, because Jesus spoke that way, but a lot of people they weren't thinking that. It was all about the rituals and the rules of, being all about cleanliness and the laws that they had, because there were a lot of laws, like, of being cleanly and doing what God says. But Jesus spoke to the churches. He spoke to, the Pharisees and Sadducees about all of the things that he was saying, but this is what God really wants you to do. The greatest commandment, right? Love your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind and all your strength. And that right there, that should be like what we should see in our body every single day. Like, get up with vigor to serve the Lord God with all of your, might, your strength, your mind, your body. Like, Jesus spoke to us, telling us that we are to do a certain thing. And doing a certain thing means that you have to put on a certain, I want to say posture, posture, a posture of yourself. And we're not teaching that. We're not teaching that the strength really is not about the body. It's the strength of God. You have to put your focus on God. You have to know more about, what God's will is and the righteous way of going in life. We need to teach more about righteousness because that is God's way. And so righteousness comes when we hear it, though, and we know that it's being taught in the right direction, because we can be told a lot of laws, and we get a lot of laws in the past. We hear a lot of laws, man-made laws that, Jesus was really, I feel like he was trying to not, push too much on people, the man-made laws. But I truly believe that it was more of like, the whole body devotion is when you put all your trust in God for your physical needs. You're not really materialistic. You don't really care too much about the material world. And so we're not teaching these aspects that Jesus spoke on, because he had a very good way of telling us how to be. But it's all encoded for us to understand it at our right time. And so you might hear somebody's message and it might click for you to become a totally different person with your body. Stop doing a certain thing. Like, let's say you drink every day. We have people always talk about how they stop drinking every day, or they stop doing drugs, or, they stop overeating, or they go to the gym because something clicked, the light, the God put something in their mind to, change their mind and their heart. And I think we need to talk more in that way, in a loving way, in a way that we can say things that can, ignite that spark within us. And so, when I think of the body, I think of what Jesus, he really taught us. And, it's about taking care of the inside, knowing what is truly holy and protecting it and honoring it, because that is where God resides. What do you think about that?
I mean, to add to that is just, I think it's a lack of discipline.
Yeah.
It's a lack of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so with that, not being able to be focused on what's at hand is it's a discipline thing, and disobedient thing. I don't know. You may agree, you may not, but I think everybody at one point in their life has been disobedient.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing right there. Even for myself, I go to the gym, but I love eating. Now, do I eat the right? I can eat anything. Salad. There's nothing I don't eat. I don't eat seafood. That's the only thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't eat a lot of greasy foods. Like, if you look in our refrigerator, there is no processed meats. It's chicken and veg. It's just the things when I go out with family and friends and how I eat. As a kid, you should see my plate. My plate was like piled up. My dad, I'm serious. I just was eating like Hey, my dad used to like say to me, "You ain't chewing your food." Used to be, and I'm saying this because that's what happens. It's like we don't, chew our food completely, and so it goes down like this, and so it's a lot of factors that play a part. Chewing your food. Yeah.
Do you think that because that we do that because we are so engulfed in the pleasure of eating? Like, let me tell you like this. So I know what you mean when you say eating. Like, there's sometimes I would eat a meal and be so like, oh, it's so good. I can taste all of the flavors and all that. And then that's how some people really can overdo it because it's so delicious, right? Like, is that what it is and that's you did you say self-control? Like, discipline, is that what it is? You think it is? Okay.
No, with that people eat like that?
Yeah.
Nah, it's lifestyle. Just
okay.
Everything we want to do things fast. We live in a city. It's like fast. Gotta hurry up and eat. Gotta watch my TV. Gotta watch my show. Just imagine. I don't know about you, but when we were kids, we couldn't eat in the front room. We had to eat at the table.
Right.
So, so look, we would rush to finish our food so we could watch our show.
Yeah.
Huh?
That was
what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so it grew up. We grew up like that. And so now here it is. We are adults. And most likely we probably do the same thing. Eating the food and not talking. And okay, I'm done. Now we like this.
Yeah.
Sluggish.
Yeah.
Instead of taking our time. Listen. I got to say this. I got to throw my disclaimer out there because I don't want nobody to feel like I'm judging Lady T. Listen, but I can tell you this. If you took the time, if we were flies on the wall, right, and we went into each household, right, I guarantee you, most of the families, I promise you this, they don't sit at the table and eat dinner together.
I hate to hear it.
But they don't. But watch this.
Look, I'm not going to disagree with you. So that's not many of them.
Exactly. There are some You know, I
Mhm.
know them personally.
Me
You know what I'm
too.
saying? I've been to their house, had dinner with them, and they ain't just a handful. More listen, I've been to more than 10 people houses that I know like personally and ate with them and their family. We sitting at the table. Okay. But when you really look at it, um, they're not doing that. One, the parents are probably so busy they don't have time. They're doing something. They moving around. But I think that's part of something that we're missing too. Sitting having
Mhm.
dinner with your family. No
Yeah.
phone at the table. Put your
Yeah.
phone in the room and
Yeah.
let's have a conversation. How was your day?
Mhm.
How's your week going?
Yep.
I guarantee you the new generation don't know nothing about that. And so we talk about the church teaching the health. That is part of healthcare. Having being able to have a conversation at the dinner table, having lunch together at the lunch table in
Mhm.
your house, if not in the house, at a restaurant. They don't. We don't. We not. They're not teaching that.
No.
We should. We should be working on that, and that's why I have, I've dedicated my time with going to men's fellowship and just, I've been to the last two. We talking and conversating, and these are the things that I will bring to the table and let them know because guess what? It's not me. It's truly not me because guess what? This is what God wants to talk about. You know what I'm saying? It's not about us. When we have these conversations, it's truly not us about us because it's not about we not doing this for fame.
Right.
We want to change and help to renew your mind in those aspects. And I'm truly, I know we are truly led by the Spirit. Some people may not understand that. I mean, their journey and their destination is different than ours or somebody else's. I said, but guess what? If you love the Lord, these are some of the things you should think about. Because guess what? We're not going to always be here, but we have to leave a legacy. Not only a legacy, we have to leave something for somebody to really say, you know what? This is true. We need to pick this up, pick the torch up. Think about this, Lady T.
Mhm.
Healthcare. We're talking about healthcare in the body, right? Guess what? How many families have family reunions? We big on that. How many families? Because they feel like they're so busy in their life that they can't spend time with their family. And then guess what? We know that each and every person in your family, you're not supposed to have a relationship with them. But then guess what? You didn't choose your family.
Mhm.
It was given to you. As
Yeah.
long as you walk in your call and in your life, guess what? You have to do what you're supposed to do. Can't look at nobody else. Do what God has called you to do, and you'll see things differently.
Yeah.
You'll move differently. You know what I'm saying? And so we that's part of our health care. These things like that. You never know. And then certain resources come from your family. Certain ones, not to use and abuse, but like I said, you have to walk with God. God has to be the head of your life, so you can understand these things like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
T, you want to say something?
So I was thinking about how the body belongs to God. And honestly, I think it says something about the body is where the Holy Spirit is. And, the Holy Spirit lies in the body. So just like as the temple was taken care of and it was sacred, that's how we are to keep the body. So I was thinking of that. But our body, we weren't really taught. So we need to speak about our body more often. And, because this is our temple, we are to care for it and to be spiritually responsible. And, to be spiritually responsible, that means you be accountable to your body. And some people just don't care. I know. And some people have no desire to care about it. But I think that if we open up eyes by, giving scripture another way of looking at it, I think it will come to all for God's glory. So I think that that's exactly what it is when it comes to the stewardship of our physical health. Avoiding and it says in the Bible about how glutton will become poverty and drowsiness will be a man's rags or something like that. Like there's the gluttony and the laziness will affect the body, and it will, bring it harm. And we need to be more disciplined and in moderation, and not overindulgence. And that's what the scriptures are saying, but we don't hear it often. We
Mhm.
hear it every now and then, but our bodies are what we are supposed to be, physically and spiritually being disciplined in. So I think that, we could look at it as the nutrition that we need is to pray and take time with, God. Pray and, have, like you say, about fasting, or pray and, separate yourself, because that's what Jesus did. We need to do as what Jesus did, the examples of. He rested, he took time away, he healed others. But you can only heal others if you're healed yourself. You can't heal somebody if you ain't healed. I mean, maybe, I don't know. God can do all things. So, but it's something that I would like to talk more to people, for them to get emotionally and mentally healthy and wealthy. And the wealthiness is not material things; it is the wealth to know of the healing that we can do, because Jesus said we can do what He's done. But how can we do it if our body is infected with disease, and it's not truly honoring God? And so it's very hard, because even my throat issue today, I woke up whatever day it was yesterday, and I had a throat issue. And it's like everything can affect the body and you don't even know what it is, like airborne stuff, you know what I mean? Like there's so many things that can affect our body that we have to learn how to deal with. Like, and what do? We take medicine, we take something from the outside. And then I'm like, I question that, and I'm like, but you said don't go from the outside to come to you on the inside. So I have my own learning curve with this whole process of the body, the healing. I honor my body and I speak with it all the time, even if I'm laid up on the bed with someone else. That is my husband. I said that, and I will honor God, and I've told God that. So I am not ashamed in any of the things I've done in my body, but I know that there's more responsibility that needs to be taken place with my body, because how do you avoid the things that bring diseases? Like we have people all the time that are having cancers, and we don't really know what's going on in the body unless you go to the doctor and have the doctor look at you in a machine and tell you through the machine what they see. And then that's our way of becoming healed. And I don't think Jesus had that in mind. I really don't. Technology is great. I respect it. I love it. I love technology. But something about Jesus's message was something that said that we could do it internally, that we could do something of a change, of a healing. And I would love to see that in all of us, being able to become better human beings and elevate to a healing level that we haven't seen in ages. So that is my hope. But we still in the dark ages. So I guess we
Nah,
are.
but listen, we look. No, let's see, we doing it. Believe it or not, it's happening. And I'm gonna tell you something. Like I was telling you earlier behind the stage, is that last night's show, right? I connected with somebody new, and they're coming, soon on the show. And just like I said, just to see, how God moves. And I always tell people, you know, who's supposed to be on this show, I let God do it. I don't do it. I might go and talk to this person, but I always say, look, check out the show. If it's something that interests you, yeah, you're more than welcome to be a guest. Because at the end of the day, I want to make sure that the person is not coming here to talk about nonsense and foolishness. It's about having a conversation that's going to intrigue your mind, but not only intrigue your mind, but have your mind renewed in a way where you like, now I got to seek him for myself more and more. Because we talked about discipline, we talked about, sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? These are the things that most people don't want to do, and that sacrifice is big. I always say this, and I'm seeing it when it's time for the women to get together. they get together, they do it big. But when it's time for us men to get together, we don't, because you know what? We focused on so much for our families, we forget about we still need to keep our torch lit. And guess what? How do we do that? We always working. We get burnt out too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, we need to keep that torch lit. And with other brothers, that's gonna uplift you. When you falling, guess what? They gotta be there to push you up.
Mm-hmm.
Not, we support my wives are supporting wives, yeah. But the fellas, we need that strength too. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I was at Service Sunday, and somebody said this too, and I was like, "Ooh, that's tough." He said, "Listen, I can love a man and still be a man." I was like, "What do you mean by that?" And all the men did that face, like, "What?" But you know what he meant is that I'm going to show you real love and still be a man. You know what I'm saying? Not this, I like a man. No, a love that is supposed to be unconditional. So I don't have a hidden agenda. I'm going to love you like, bro, you need some help? All right, let's work it out together. You need a shoulder to cry on? Come on, what's going on? You let it out. You know what I'm saying? Men need that just as well as women do. And so this society say that's soft. That's a feminine. No, it's not. It's not. That's what you got to release that. When you aggravated, frustrated, your wife frustrated, your kids is frustrated, and you aggravated, guess what? And you don't release that, now you got this anger, you got animosity, and you holding it in. And where's it gonna go? It gotta come out someday. Yep. Coming out the wrong person. Now you're reacting based on the emotions that you had 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Your emotions is all balled up inside, and you didn't release it, you didn't talk about it. And so now, guess what? Your brother then came over to the house and he made you mad, and now you and him got into a fight. You and your sister got into a fight because you let your boyfriend get you all riled up, and now y'all into a fight because you didn't get it out. And I just said you. I'm gonna talk about you per se, but you know what I'm saying. And that's how it goes. That's how the story goes. You know, and that's what. And we like I said, that's all part of healthcare. Listen, when you upset, how do you get it out? How is it taught to us? And that's why you look at a lot of relationships going to therapy. Why isn't the church being our therapy?
Because we have heard a lot of punishment from the church. The church talks about the Bible and talks punishment and talks so much about God punishing. And, there's punishment in the church talk. And that is why I say, things are the way they are because we've been taught punishment. But I'll say this, God took Adam and Eve, put them into the Garden of Eden to work, or took man, Adam, to work and to care for to work and care for it, right? Mm-hmm. So that was God's good design. It was his design for us to work and move. We are not here to be gluttonous and lazy. We are here to move. We are here to be active. We are here to be stewards and to serve and to, give God glory. And we're not doing it because of why? Because we've been taught a certain way that was diminishing who we are as God's, children, and saying we are punished and, oh God, I'm so sorry, shameful. Like that is what we've been taught in the Bible, in the church, from the Bible. And it has been shamed. It has been, put down where even we are afraid of the Bible. People reject the Bible because they're afraid of it. And the understanding has, been diminished of what God's glory truly is and what Jesus came to teach us because of that. And so love is very difficult to teach in the Christian church because we talk about it. There's Christianity is very big as far as religion, but why is this world the way it is? Why are we so lost and not connected to God? It was all for a purpose, of course, but we have to understand that we learned a certain way in a certain process or a certain mindset, but God is greater than what we were taught. So we got to get outside of what we were taught and broaden our mind to say, God, you are so awesome that you have everybody everywhere. So I have to hear you even bigger. Talk to me directly. And I love the Bible, don't get me wrong, but we got to have that real desire to have God talk to us directly every single day, every moment. Your mind has to be on God. You have to desire to say, I want to love right. I want to do right, and just call on God. We call on Jesus all the time, but we're to call on God. We are to call on Jesus. Is our example. He is our brother. He is our friend. He is the one, but the Holy Spirit is our intercessor to get us to where we need to go. There's a path that we all need to sit up here and just, take a hold of every single day to get closer to God. And I think when we have our conversations with all the different people that you have on the show, it's great to hear everybody's testimony. And I think that we're all in our different ways communicating that, the couple yesterday, how they're going out and serving the people and that's serving God. They serve God through the way their ministry is set for their life. And that's
Right.
what we're all doing. We're all doing it separately. So there's nothing wrong with our ministry, but we just got to talk. We got to learn how to talk. We got, especially I that's for myself, right? I didn't want to talk, me. And now I'm opening up my mouth and I'm encouraging others to open up their mouth so they feel that they can trust me enough that I won't criticize them, put them down, and I'm going to encourage what they say, or I'm going to nurture what they say and try to get into, an understanding, a compromise that we can come together with whatever it is the topic is, right? We got to do more of that.
Right. And T, I want to add to that, right? Look, so just like what you just said, there are going to be people that's going to come to you because you know what? Not only do they value your words of encouragement, but they know you're going to be honest. And once they recognize that you're going to be honest, then they want to hear what you have to say, and then they're going to evaluate whether that's going to be good for them. And I'm gonna give you an example. So I was at work the other day, right? So this new guy was there, and one of the guys got into, I guess back and forth or whatever, right? And so one of the guys, he did do something that was, out of the ordinary, right? But I told the other guy, because I'm not gonna say names. I told the other guy, I said, listen, yeah, he was wrong. I said, but your approach on the whole situation was wrong, right? And at the end of the day, it was two brothers. See, they can see, and I'm not saying I'm better. I'm not saying I'm better, but see how I see it, how I saw it. I saw it differently than he did. Other guy was wrong, right? But if he would have approached him in a different manner, the result would have been different. His reaction would have been different. You know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest thing right there is how we look at certain situations from the natural part of life and not the spiritual part. Once you have the spiritual aspect of your life in your life and you allow God to direct you and you have a new set of lens, you see things differently. Your response and your approach is different. You know what I'm saying? You can be able to walk away, or you could be able to talk with this person and say, yo, listen, this is X, Y, and Z. You got to do it like this, all right? And leave it like that. And people will start receiving that and seeing it differently. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they're going to do to you. They're going to come to you. They're going to come to you because, like we said, having conversation and talking to somebody, listening, and say, oh, man, T, she's very intelligent. Let me ask her. Because you're always honest. And you always strive to not be perfect. Let me correct that. You strive to be perfect. You want to be perfect because you want to be able to live the perfect life. We know we're not going to be perfect, but that's what Jesus intended for us to do, to live a righteous and holy life. And so, these are the things that, once you get to that point, you'll be able to do it. Because like I said, I tell people this all the time. I don't practice lying. If I say something wrong, I got to be able to say, I was wrong. Like, I'm a gamer. I play the game. And somebody said something to me today, and I was like, all right, I'm wrong. All right. I said it like that, but I was wrong. This is just a game, though. but I still was wrong. It's something that, and then now they start, and I'm gonna show you something how God works. I'm a gamer, and I say things on the game, right? No, I don't curse, I don't do none of that. But I say silly stuff. You know what they do to me? And I get it. They might be joking in a way, and I received it. It's like, yo, you supposed to be a pastor or a Christian, and you talking like that. I say silly stuff that they say I'm not supposed to say. So now I'll be like, oh my goodness, boy, they got me on. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. I'm being honest.
I believe you. Yeah.
And so, but you know what? I feel like I look at it differently. See, I didn't get offended. I look at it, they're sharpening me. They say, look, even though it's silly, you shouldn't be saying that. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. And I ain't get upset about it. I was like, you know what?
They try to get under your skin. That's
they
all.
are. They
Yeah,
They
and
are.
try to
But
make you be a different person. Like, and I'm not a fan of that. Like, okay, and you got this. This is what you getting.
I'm seeing, like I said, T, I'm gonna be transparent. I said, look, and I get it. I'll be like this. Look, I'll be like this. Come here, girl. You see that? I ain't supposed to say it like that. Just come on, keep it real. Like they like, yo, you acting. Nah, I ain't supposed to act like that. Even though it's on the game, I still, you feel me?
All right,
so
yeah. You smacking that ass? Is that what that means?
Look, there you go. Look, you said it. I ain't saying it. Listen, so that's what they throwing at. And you know what? I feel like everybody look at it differently. I look at it like it's structuring me to be better because guess what? I play the game every day. I'm practicing.
You're having fun too.
I am.
So why can't you? Right. So why can't you just, smack? Yeah. Just do you.
I look. See, listen. That's what I said. See, I look at things differently. I didn't get offended, but I also recognize that they see what I'm doing.
Right.
And they got me. I'm okay with that. Everybody's not okay with that. I'm okay with their holding me at a standard. I'm all right with that. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? They're sharpening me. They're sharpening my skills of way I carry myself. So when I'm not even on this platform, when I'm out in the world, I got to carry myself a certain way because guess what? I can help them change their mind by my actions, by how I carry myself. So it might be to some, it might be like, oh, that's too much. No, it's not. It's really not. Because I look at it, like I said, I look at it differently. I like, all right, you know what? Let me change and say something else. Cause they be like, I'm gonna tell. He said, I'm gonna tell your podcast that you be out acting a fool.
That's all right. You told everybody, so now everybody knows. So,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and guess what? At the end of the day, like I'm always mindful of how I'm doing things, how I am, because guess what? Like I said, when you become in this new spotlight, you got to worry about that. You got to. It's not saying I'm going to be better, but listen, my heart different. You know what I'm saying? And I sometimes I see people pain and my heart goes out to them because of their struggles. So I got to be correct when I be able to come to them open arms and say, look, I'm here for you, and be real genuine when I say I'm here for you. I'm so proud of my brother. You know what I'm saying? He's doing good. He's a work in progress. You know what I'm saying? But he's doing great. You know what I mean? All my brothers.
Yeah.
And so, and my sister. So, at the end of the day, guess what? I know not to brag. I know I'm doing something right. You know what I'm saying? They hold me accountable of my action. They hold me accountable of how I am. So when I step out of line, they say, yo, you ain't supposed to do that. I got you right. I'm not. I told you about my cousin, Lamont. He beat me. I was like, oh, but guess what? I look at things differently because I want to be this new person, constant. I don't want to be fake. I don't want to live a life that's unrighteous, unclean. And so what I'm preaching, I'm saying that for others to know, like it's work. It's work, and you gotta want it. I want it. I want it all. You never hear me say I want the riches. I want the riches of Christ. And that's something greater than money. You know what I'm saying? Everlasting life. If they don't know what everlasting life is, they have to learn what that is and what that means. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, I love this. I love doing this every week. If I could do it every day, I'd do it every day. I
Yeah,
love
I
cooking.
believe you.
I
Yeah.
no, I do because guess
Mhm.
what? I want to reach as much as people I can. But guess what?
You're a talker too.
Huh?
You're a talker.
You are too.
No, I'm not. Not like you. You're completely
Wow.
different. Like
Next
I
time we
am
out,
not.
look, next time we out, I'm gonna record you. I'm gonna be like this, recording you. I said, you ain't a talker? Ching, gotcha.
No, I'm not. I'm
Gotcha.
not like you. You come up to people and talk to them. I don't
I,
do all that.
oh,
You-
I'm a real people's person. Yes,
I
I do.
know. Yeah, you are a
But
talker, a people person. Yeah.
see, I have to be led to speak to that person though. I
Okay.
don't just, oh, how you doing? No, I gotta see their whole demeanor, their spirit that they carry. I gotta see it. 'Cause if I see something, I don't know, nah, not today, not that person.
Okay. Well, let me get to the movement thing that I was talking
Ooh,
about
what
because
movement? Tell me. Oh, you
what I was talking about earlier about how God created the garden and told a man to work, right? And that's movement. What I was talking about earlier. I
okay.
think that we as people have gotten away from the movement, um, being like, let's say, I always say I do a dance type. I have a dance in my bones still, and I do my dance to glorify God and show my expression of joy. And because my joy is real, and we don't do that anymore. We don't have that one-on-one. I'm not talking about going to the club shaking your booty, right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying like really have your time, even if it's in a church. You're getting that dancing, right? Getting them steps in. It's good. It's refreshing. It's what we need. We've gotten away from it. Even exercise and labor is a form of service and discipline. The labor, putting in the work to service, to give a service. We don't. Motion has become something we are not doing much of, and we need to get back into it when it comes to the body, because the body was meant to it. Even scientists will tell you the body was not meant to be sitting, and all the cells are supposed to be moving everywhere. That's how the body works. So I feel like we need to get back into nature. We are apart from nature too. And walking and being in nature is something that we need to connect with, because nature is what also keeps us here. We got to get some sunlight. Sunlight, if we ain't have it, where would we be? We would be gone, right? Get some
Right.
water on your body. Get the water of the ocean, maybe, if you can, or not get it into a pool, or get into your tub, but have that water on your body regularly and have a mind to serve God, to say, I am so grateful for this moment. Things that we need to do in nature, we are getting away from. We're not gardening anymore. We're not putting our hands in the soil. There are so many things that we've been disconnected from when it comes to nature and when it comes to movement. And that is the way the system was built. The system was built for us to be basically stuck in a cage, to do things a certain way and only a certain way. And I always say, get out of the cage, get out the box. It's so much more out there when you get out the box. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, I just wanted to add that because that was my last little thing, what I was thinking of.
That's the last little thing you was thinking
My
of.
last little thing. And I did pretty good. I think I did pretty good.
Oh man, T. So let me ask you something. What do you think would be um, the one thing you would add into teaching healthcare at church?
The one thing I would add,
What you would try, what you want to see happen? What would be one thing?
movement. Everybody
Movement,
move. Everybody
movement
move.
of what?
The body. People are very not moving that much. You said something about how people are big and our weight is there. Yes, we all have a lot of weight. We all need to do movement. So the one thing I will want to see is, because if you don't, you will cause problem. It says it in the Bible. I can't think of the scriptures. I might have said it earlier, but the point is, when you are in a state of just laziness and not doing movement, you're creating issues for your body. And we used to dance. We used to be in the what is there, roller skating rinks, like, going out, moving the body and just having fun. We don't do that no more. So if anything, I would say movement, because it's something that shows our way of being like Jesus. He walked everywhere. He healed people. He took his time to, be by himself, but he did the movement of going out and servicing God's people. And movement is what we need to do. Of course, there's more, but that would probably be my first, because I feel like people, I've noticed, even those that have worked from home for a very long time, I've seen the change. And I see it because I saw them before we all worked from home, and then I see them after, and I'm like, wow, you're stuck in the house. You can tell. Why did you do this to yourself? And because they were in a hole because of whatever the situation was in their home that made them not get out and go into nature, move the body. We see other cultures always doing a lot of things with their body, and if they grow old doing the things with their body. We've grown out of that. We used to. So we need to get back into it.
Well, I can say, look, I said it earlier. I went to service on Sunday, and they did have a health clinic free.
Oh.
My dad church does the same thing time for time. They do a health care. The nurses come out. They do these checkups and blood work and all that type of stuff like that. And so some places do that, but that's just one day.
Right.
It has to be constant. Not that type. Like I said, the mental part has to be constant. I have so many experiences where I went to visit churches, and like I said, gotta throw this disclaimer out there. No judgment. Gotta throw that out there, because I gotta start doing that now. Says no judgment, but it's an observation. No, I'm serious. It's an observation, and that when you go in there, and sometimes you see the faces frowned up, you don't see a greeting. We in a house of worship. We're in holy ground, and you have an attitude. You don't want to speak because you had an argument before you came into church, or you had a bad week and now you don't want to talk. That's not the place to do that. And so you have a lot of that all over the world. Ain't no small churches. It's the big churches, the small churches. It's because the mental part. And that's where we need to practice at. Being able to talk, communication. Guess what? If you're married, that is big. Communication is key. Mm-hmm. So if you communicate well with your family, your wife, when you go outside in the world, you should be able to communicate, because guess what? It's a practice. You have to practice it. Just like you have to practice praying. You have to practice fasting. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice. And so these are the things that we have to practice. And guess what? We as Christians, as believers, are being scrutinized, talked about. And guess what? When we step out of line, they want to check us, but they don't want to check themselves. They don't want to look at themselves and say, well, you know what? I ain't doing this right. And so they say, well, you shouldn't do this. Okay, okay, I'm not supposed to do this, but what are you doing? Are you living a righteous and holy life? But you want to say what I'm supposed to do or you supposed to do. You got a lot of this.
Yeah.
Pointing the finger. No. It's not about that. It's truly about doing the work. And the biggest thing that stands out for me, I say, is the discipline. Not only the discipline, the patience. Everybody don't have patience to sit there and endure that conversation, because there might be something that's going to correct your circumstance, correct your situation, and then if you don't have patience, guess what? You're not even trying to hear it. Right. You're moving on. You're like, I don't want to hear that.
Right.
And a
A
lot of
lot of
people,
people are like that. A lot of people are like that.
of
Oh my
course,
God. I have family members like that. So I leave them alone. You don't want to hear me? Guess what? You're going to hear me eventually one day.
one day,
Somehow, one day, you're going to
yep,
hear me. It's going to come. So I don't worry about those people. But there's a lot of them like that. Yeah.
you know, I'm always challenged. Whether you believe, well, I know you believe that. I'm always challenged, you know, and that's why I live for God, because I've been through it. You know, Rodney made a comment yesterday. It was so funny. He said, "Did you see it yesterday?"
What?
He said, "Chef Dennis, it came easy for him living for God." I said, "No, it didn't." I said, I just did it at an early age. I did it when I was a young teen, playing the drums. So I don't. That's why, I mean, you know, I do have stories, but I don't have no tragic story because I did it early. You know, I got hold to it at an early age. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I loved it. I love that feeling. It was a feeling, and I was, as a kid, I always said this: there is a, and anybody that's a believer, anybody that's a true lover of Jesus Christ, they can understand what I'm about to say. There is a feeling on the inside that's undeniable. It's filled with joy, just happiness, and there is nothing darkness in there. And once you love, I'm talking about love on him. It's, man, I'm just talking about it right now. It's like, oh my goodness, like I'm flaring up. It's because you got to understand that. And how do you understand it? You got to go through the storm and know that he's right there holding you up, holding your hand through the storm. Even then, if you doing the messed up stuff, even when you're doing things that he not pleased with, he's still there. And so that's what, you know, sustained me. And that's why I feel the way I feel. That's why I'm so passionate about this. You know what I'm saying? And then when somebody come along and correct me, I'm like, okay, God, what are you trying to say? Maybe I need to do it a different way.
Yep. You're
You know?
asking the question. Good for you.
Yeah. That's always been like that though, T.
Mhm.
Always. I'm like, all right, what you trying to tell me?
Right.
You know?
We need to do that more often. Everybody
uh,
needs to do that more often.
yeah. You gotta say, well, okay, what are you trying to tell me? Like, why? Like, you know, I ask certain people to come on and they say not this time. And it's okay with that. I'm always like that. Because you know what? This is a journey. And it's not just a season for me. It's a journey. You know what I'm saying? A journey is long. You know what I mean? I don't have a set destination for this journey. I'll be traveling all over the place that he leads me. You know what I'm saying? We talked about that going to Texas and doing out there at its prospective time.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to rush it because we both have lives. We both have things that we have outside of here. And so it's a prospective time. Like we supposed to go down to Virginia and do Amber Love show. Not this year. You know what I mean?
You may never know. It might happen. You never know. Okay.
I talked to her already. I talked to her. So you know, she got new projects, and you got things going on. I got a project coming up, and so you know, but we connected, and so being that we're connected in the right time, the right season, we gonna connect. We gonna go live in person. I can't, like I said, that's already been like told to me for us. Like, and I'm gonna wait till the right time because I like this is so gonna be so different to be in person with a person and talking with them. Because I promise you, T, I can't wait because you know why I can't wait, T? Because there's gonna be some tears, but there's gonna be tears of joy, tears of happiness, huh?
Your tears.
Yours too.
Man, I don't cry like you cry. I'm sorry.
No. Y'all heard it. Y'all listen. I want
my daughters, they tell me, and I mean I cry when I have to, but not like you. You cry. You cry. You cry. You definitely
you know
bring the tears.
Because guess what? I see the love of Christ. That's like yesterday. I seen the love. That wasn't a show.
No, I wasn't saying that.
No, I'm talking about for him.
I know.
Where he was telling us, like, come on, you got And
I smile. That's what I do. I smile hard. I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. I don't cry. I just smile. That's what I do.
You're right. But you know why? The reason why I cry is because guess what? It's so much joy to know that when people say he not real, he's fake, he's this God. No, I know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And knowing that is just so much joy. Even sometimes when I see, how, I think about when they pinned him up to the cross. You know what I'm saying? And they stuck him in his side. It's deep.
Right.
It's deep. Somebody would get up there and do that for me. And you believe it. Some people don't to this day don't believe that, T.
I know.
And it's sad. Because if you don't know that the mercy and the grace he has for you, it hurts sometimes. When I was young in the Christ, it was hurting me. Nobody wanted to hear me. They didn't want to hear nothing I had to say. It's like, I don't want to hear that. Who's God? Who's Jesus? Who's this white Jesus you talking about? Don't go there.
Yep, don't go there.
Don't go there.
Don't go there.
They don't want to hear that. That's another topic.
Yeah, it is another topic, but it's definitely, I think we can say that we should look at the Bible as archetypes. I say archetypes. The reason why I say it is because we weren't supposed to take everything in the Bible literally, and it says that. And and so there are things that we should look at it as symbolizing a bigger and broader message of God's purpose for our lives. Go ahead.
Hey, T, what you just said, look, you're right. Everything is not meant for us to look at it and break it down naturally. It's spiritual. And the first thing that came to my mind when you said that was Samson. He was blinded by the what? What blinded him?
I'm sorry, I don't remember. Tell me.
His desire to love. Because God told him something.
Mm-hmm.
And he revealed it to somebody that had a hidden agenda. He wasn't supposed to reveal that. He did it.
But also the hidden agenda. But that's the thing. It's when we talk about disobedience, that is the disobedience that we should really realize when Adam did not listen to God.
Yes.
He did something. So the same thing, every time we talking about, that's the disobedience. We just don't listen to what God tells us all the time. And then you get consequences, as you like to say. There are consequences for not doing what God tells you to do. If you were told to do something and you did not do it, you can have a small consequence or a very big one, and you will meet your match sometimes by having an extremely big one. But yeah, that's a good example. But it's all about, disobedience. It's all about, that is what you always talked about from the beginning when we started this podcast, disobedience, disobeying what God's word told you to do. And we know on the inside when we're not doing what God tells us to do. And so we'll figure it out through our own actions of what comes in our life.
And that's why, like, being on a podcast platform, you see and you hear a lot of things. And that's why I refuse. Now, this is me. And I know it's nothing but God. I refuse to talk negative about other people and what they're doing. That's them. That's not the platform that I wanted to talk about what they're doing. And they're supposed to be Christians. Like, the biggest thing that everybody talking about Kirk Franklin. I don't look, that's his life. He's famous. That's him. He will be held accountable of his actions, and God will hold him accountable. So what do I need to talk about him for and what he's not doing? There's a lot of people that's doing that. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about the encouragement part. Encourage others to come to Christ. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people that's doing that. And, speaking against what other believers are doing And is it of God? No, it's not of God. But guess what? Be more encouraging, uplifting, inspiring people to want to come to God. You know, not talking about what somebody is doing and what they shouldn't be doing.
Everybody likes to be entertained, though.
Oh,
That is
that's what it is.
That
See,
is
that's
it.
what it is.
That is all it is. Everybody wants entertainment, and
Yes.
gossip is the best entertainment. Or see somebody get killed. That's another good entertainment. That's why the movie industry has so much killing in it. Like, it's entertainment. We grew in that. We have it in our DNA. Like everything in the past. Like I think of Daniel going into the lion's den. Like that's exactly what they did back in the day. and people watched it. So I think that our world has become what it is because we've been misdirected, and we were misdirected for a purpose, for the I'm going to call the darker energies in this world to show itself, and then for people to then wake up, because God will show himself through all things. And so now we are in a time where we have the ability to communicate the way we do, with so many people around the world. And we are now becoming, open to conversation, and we could possibly become more like-minded and do things in a better direction. So that's my hope. But yeah,
it's a hope.
It's a hope.
Yeah. And we gonna get ready to get up out of here. But listen, you definitely got to. Oh Lord Jesus, look at Lady. Oh yeah, I'm gonna say another hour.
It's hump day, so it's almost at the end of the week.
I know, right? You got anything planned for this weekend?
I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna take time to, get some healing in my mind and my body and come to Jesus. I'm gonna do that. I do my come to Jesus. I was talking about movement, but I like other cultures, how they always, like yoga. So like, moving the body, flexing the body, movement of the body. It is the breath, we don't learn about these type of things. The breath is where you can, really communicate with God. And I need that. So that's going to be me this weekend, me coming to God in my movement and worship and honor and glorifying through my joy and my thankfulness. So yeah, that was a long way of saying I'm gonna have a good weekend.
You gonna do some worship?
My worship is one-on-one. I don't go to churches to worship. I do it at home. So ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong. But I'm just saying, for me, I've done the church thing. I'm done with the church thing. Now it's home.
Look, don't say you done with the church thing, okay? Please.
Well, I'm not doing it now, and I haven't been doing it for years.
Just say you're not doing it right now. Just can you stop saying that, please? Okay, thank you. Because you know why I'm telling you that? Because you keep putting it in the atmosphere, and God said, "Oh, you're not doing church thing? Okay,
I'm not in that direction.
I got you." Be slowly doing like this.
Whatever.
Whatever. You
right.
Barry White. You gonna be doing that? He said, no. Yes, you are. You gonna be a new worshiper. He said, you gonna be a new worshiper.
We're not going down that route.
The worshiper.
She's going the other way.
Keep on going, because he's gonna grab you. He's gonna walk you down the aisle and say, yes, I do.
I'm done with you.
Listen, it was a pleasure, guys. And listen, we always have fun here. And listen, we will see you guys next week. Peace.